audio out with the starting soon?
No,
Oh,
not yet. It's
no
just
music yet.
no.
That's next week.
Yeah, it's to come. I have the thing, but I don't have VLC player on here. Theme. Yeah, we don't have lower thirds. Jeez.
They happen to be PNGs in the live stream folder.
Oh, I have them. I downloaded the whole thing. Okay, lower turd.
It's GT lower.
You're lower.
Yours is bottom third.
Yeah, because mine's different in every way. Okay, oh yeah, these are the wrong ones because they have a 3D Make It logo on it. Because there's the 3D Make It logo already in the scene. There, that fixed it for now. And add image David. Lower third. It's not really a third, it's more like an eighth.
It's just the turn.
Oh. There we go.
The deal I got in that compressor.
Yeah, you got it working too, right?
$9 to repair it.
Just so you know. Oh, well, hello everybody.
Hi,
I don't know why they'd be live. We're
Dave.
starting soon.
David set up his new system, and I guess he didn't turn off our mics. Surprise.
Hello, Greg.
Hello, David. And hello to everyone who heard us chatting while we were setting up David's new computer.
It's, yeah. We're missing some of the stuff still, but we will persevere. I think.
Hopefully.
I think. So hopefully, we'll see how it goes. It should be heck of a lot smoother. I'm not sure. I see a little ghosting on my video, but that's fine. It's normal. It's normal.
Sure.
Sure.
Oops, sorry. My audio was on when it shouldn't have been.
What?
I know.
What? Anyway, all that aside, I hope everybody's doing good this lovely Sunday morning.
And it's actually a pretty nice day outside.
Right? It's a great day for a birthday. Happy
Oh.
birthday, Greg.
Oh, thank you. I'm another year older.
Before we get too far into it, I'm just going to flip to the thing we flipped to, and we'll give a shout out to all the Patreons. You guys are awesome. Thank you for supporting us. If you want to check it out, it's patreon.com/3dmakeit. And there's the Discord feed, the Patreon feed up there. And we'll be doing like our the Patreon live stream in the next 2 weeks. I can't say for sure.
I'm just so everyone knows, and I don't know if David's going to do a stream or not, but I am away next Sunday. I've got a funeral to go to, so I will not be around.
We're streaming. Yeah.
So I think David might be streaming.
Yep.
Yes, but I will not be attending.
It's a little below freezing. Ugh. Why? Why does the weather do such things to us?
Yeah.
The only answer is it hates us.
I've been tinkering in my garage, getting ready to, with the warmer weather, to actually use my CNC machine this year more than just trying it last year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
For sure. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, like I got, I think I only have 2 printers in here now. So that's happening slowly, but it's happening. So we'll have like most of the workshop parts set up, and then we got to start building benches and all that stuff out for printers and things. It's 5 so far, should be 14 days there.
by the end of the day, it will be.
Yeah, right. Like at 4:30 for 4 seconds, you will hit your high. I don't even know what they said here today. I just know it's not bad and there's no snow on the ground. So always a good day when that happens.
Absolutely. Stig says it was like 15 degrees where he is. And it's
Yeesh.
to a low of +4.
Gonna get some snow or something?
+4? No.
You could. It snowed here at +4. It's all gross. We're going through all 4 in a month in Chicago, right?
That's pretty typical. You know, you wait 15 minutes in Alberta and the weather changes. You go from hail to snow to rain back to sunshine. So
then it'll thunderstorm while it's snowing, and you're like, pick one. Pick one. So, we've been following kind of an announcement from Prusa 3D printers, and I think you guys are aware of the fact that Prusa has a new printer coming. It's called the Prusa XL. Prusa XL. And we've had the conversation before a little bit on like the advantages of Core XY, shall we say?
Yeah.
And that's what the Prusa XL is. So we've been kind of like watching and following it, and they had a little bit of an update, right? I mean,
it's more than just that. It's a dual. You can have a single head, a 2 head, or I think a 5 head.
Yeah.
So it's a tool changer Core XY. So that's kind of cool.
It is kind of neat. Hey Ben, morning. Yeah. So the frame on the XL is super interesting. I don't know if you've all seen it or not, but typically speaking, Core XYs, they're a box, right?
It looks a lot like the Vorons with the open front. Yeah.
And like the
or the E3D tool changer.
then that's what it most reminds me of, is the tool changer. Ironically, for some reason, you know.
The tool changer was a development platform, so other people could develop products, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's totally what they did.
Well, and yeah, like when the intent is there for that, it's fine. There's no like malicious, stealing of things and such.
Yeah.
So
the blog basically was saying that they are, continuing to develop it. I think it was originally supposed to be out around this time, but it's not. It's not going to be out yet.
no. Well, I mean, all
got
good things, right? You gotta wait and wait.
But I guess they're optimizing their tool changing and whatnot. So there's a number of things that they're working on, and but it's kind of neat. I don't know. It's not for the faint of heart, because I think it's
$2,000 US for the base model, which is, I don't think that. That just has one extruder.
Yeah, and then when you go up to the 5 extruder or whatever the max is, I think it's 5.
Yeah.
It gets a little more pricey.
Yep. Let me just so there's the there's the Prusa Slicer site for it. But like you can see it has that open front, and then it's obviously bigger than their other printers, which is probably why they went with the XL. But when you look at the build volume of it, it's 360 millimeters by 360 by 360, and then so like compared to other Core XYs on the market space, it's definitely not like the biggest one out there. But
I think they've designed it for themselves, right? They've designed it to be, because they have a version that is print farmable, right? So I can understand that why they kind of did that. So
he doesn't have it anymore, which is too bad. They used to have like a production picture on the site here with all of the in the farm, and the form factor of this printer, like even like the rails on the side there, lend itself to be like stacked beside each other and that stuff. So like when you look at like it's $2,000 for the kit, and if they assemble it for you, it's $2,500. And then like Ben was mentioning too, there would be shipping on top, and Ben said $5,000. I can neither confirm nor deny, but Ben does research, so I would assume he's right. So
well, I mean, you're shipping it from Europe, so and especially if it's fully it can't weigh, it's not a light thing.
No, not light. And then if it's fully assembled too, right? Like you're paying for packing and that stuff.
And shipping in general, with everything that's going on, has gone way up in price.
Mm-hmm. Most certainly has. The words are hard, but they will come to my brain when I'm thinking about it. Now, the lead time for stuff. That's the words I was thinking of. Lead time.
Yeah.
Couldn't even think of that. But like, order it now, get it 2 years later. But pre-order information Q3 of 2022. So That would be the summer, wouldn't
Or
it?
say
Q3?
end of summer.
Yeah.
Okay. So they were just finalizing development.
Yep. Yeah, Ben, I'm feeling better. I'm not jumping buildings by any means, and
You can hear him today.
yeah.
His
My voice is better-ish.
Sleep back.
Yeah. It gets tired sometimes, so. But yeah, other than that, like, don't lift a whole lot of heavy stuff like I used to, but other than that, we're good. So can you lift, bro? No, I can't.
On the other end of the spectrum, the Ender 2 Pro, the printer you've been left for.
I've been looking at, so like, I don't know if you guys have seen, like, the original Ender 2 was like one of the first ones, Creality had popped out, and it's a small, very small form factor printer. And then they recently reissued it, I guess would be the word. Is reissued the right word, or is it?
No, just update.
Updated, remade, update. But like,
refresh.
Yeah, Ben, I am. It's awesome. But I can't say it out loud because, YouTube. But this is the little guy. And by little, I mean,
it's cute.
It is cute. Yeah, and that was the thing with the Ender 2s. Ben just popped up in the chat that he has an Ender 2 and it still prints great. And they were really good printers. It's there are newer Ender 3s out to the S1 and Pro, and we'll take a look at that too. But like the Ender 2 Pro, it has like the little handle on the top because you should always carry your printer and hang it from the extrusion, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But like the build volume on this one is like 165 square and then 180 tall, which is, it's not huge, but Greg, remind me what the build volume is on your V0.
It's like 100 and small. It's like I've got the build plate right here and the ruler.
Well, look at that. We can do this.
It's 120 by 120 by remember if it's 200 or 100 or 150 or something like that.
So like, not far off.
Like 120 square.
Same size. But when you really think about what you print, the 165, even the 120 going down to the V0 is completely usable, right? Like if you're printing brackets and that stuff, because like when we look at think back like 2 seconds here, but like when we look at the Prusa XL or even the bigger Core XYs, like rat rigs, if you build a big rat rig or the big 400, those guys, there's one truth in life, and that's most printers that are like the other printer, so like a Core XY with a like Core XY or a Cartesian map versus another one, they print just as fast, generally speaking, as their small versions and the big versions, because the technology, like the extruder, is the roughly same idea, right? You have a direct drive, you have a Bowden, that kind of stuff. True mile.
So,
right.
So Stig was saying that there's an Ender 3 S1 and an Ender 3 S1 Pro.
Yeah.
It's like the S1 is direct drive and the S1 Pro is also direct drive.
Yeah.
The S1 Pro seems to have a touch screen, and they all have the new kind of smooth profile extrusion like the Ender 2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They've kind of
it's the new thing.
fancified.
Apparently there's somebody at the front door making noise. One sec. Sorry, peoples.
Someone is at the front door.
Thank you, Alexa. I'm just going to fix this.
Says it can do 300 degrees.
That's better. So the circling back. So when you're printing stuff of size, right? Like there's a lot of prints out there. And Gary's like, yeah, Mando helmets are what people mostly are printing, and it's true. People are doing lots of the Mandos.
Yep.
I can't believe how ubiquitous the Mandos have become. Like, I guess you could say 3D printing goes in phases of what we like to print, right?
Well, there was everyone did Grogu.
Yeah, Grogu the magnificent.
Helmets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do see a little bit of a difference here. When you look at like the S1 for the Ender 3 here, too, like you got the similar format or the size factor and stuff, but you can see they're starting to add like designy like bezeled edges on them. But like if you look at the like the actual build size, it's larger than the Enders were. It's at 270 tall by 220 by 220.
I can't really see too much of a difference between the S1 and the S1 Pro, except the S1 Pro has a touchscreen.
30% weight.
I don't know if the boards are different or the hot end, because this one says it's 300 degree for the Pro.
Yeah. I mean, it looks okay. Looks like an Ender 3.
Hey guys, surprise, it's Ender 3.
But
it has an filament runout sensor now.
the Pro version. Ooh. Well, the filament runout sensor is super important. So like when you're thinking about like, see, this one says specifically 300. Did the other one?
No, so it could be
That's
that
probably the difference is it's all metal.
better hot end. Yeah, ish.
Yeah. Different
What?
throw.
Oh, liquid. Okay, it has a liquid cooled heat sink.
Yay. Something to ruin your print. I mean, something that will work great. Liquid cooling heat sinks are very, very good when you're talking your printer head is inside a oven,
Well,
like
maybe-
a high temp oven. So maybe that's what they're going for here. But
or the cool factor. Something cool you have to have.
well, that's what I mean. Like it's not like an actual change, but if we put this racing stripe down the side of your Camaro, it goes faster, right? Like,
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
we might have to play with it.
Well, let's see.
Maybe we'll order some or something. I don't know. The thing with and I think I said it last week actually, but like when you're looking at Ender 3 printers, size wise, you can say Ender 3s are mostly the same in your slicer. And then you can also say that an Ender 3, like that, just the build quality and the structure has been and will be, I'm sure, into the future good. The Pro version here.
Yep.
I didn't see it on the other one. I'm just gonna flip back for a second. And let me just see. Yeah, exactly what I said about the racing stripe on a Camaro. If you look at the top of the Pro, they changed the form factor just slightly, so it has like this lip. It looks like
It
a
probably has LEDs up there.
little shelf, little LED shelf. That's got to be it.
Well, that and the liquid cooling.
Liquid cooling. Does
Yeah.
the other one have the bed leveler on it?
I didn't see that.
People are gonna get sick of me flipping back and forth soon, but you know what? Don't care. No, go away. It kind of looks like it's on the side of it. Yeah, I see a CR touch. Auto leveling with CR touch. So they both have auto leveling with CR touch. they have dual Z screws on this version. So that's something we haven't seen on.
Oh, but is the CR Touch? It looks like that's an option.
Is an option? I thought it said.
That's $39.99 on the right hand side.
Well, yeah, that's a price, but like when you look, it says auto leveling with CR Touch listed.
Oh,
And then in the picture, it has it attached. But we all know that sometimes Creality does that. They'll put like all these pictures of stuff, but then it's actually add-on. So I'm not sure on that one. On another board. But yeah, so I guess the S1 is the first one that we've seen a dual lead screw included in a Creality, an Ender. For some reason, it says it's 96% easier.
Local supplier and find out if they're coming in. Ray?
Yeah, we'll just talk to our local supplier. Come on, Ray. So when you look at like that kind of stuff, usually like the Pro series are marginal improvements. Like even in the CR series where they released the V2 and V3,
The
difference was
just they didn't do a ton of changes to it.
Mm-hmm.
This is Ender 3. They basically made the X extrusion bigger to make it a little more stable kind of thing. And I don't think there's any difference. I think the base printer's the same, and maybe I guess the only other thing is, did they change is one using a different 32-bit board? I'm thinking they probably are the same, and the only big difference is the cooling feature that they threw in there and the touchscreen.
Yeah, like
maybe the 3D Touch is, or whatever, the CR Touch or whatever is only on the Pro and not on the regular one.
Yeah, and Ben hit on a really good point there. It's basically all the improvements and like mods that everybody has already been installing on their Ender 3 that they just roll into the Ender 3 series.
And that's a great thing for everyone else, because now they're going to get even a better printer, that they don't have to mod.
Well, right? Well, at least for a minute or two. And like, I'm not sure. Like they both say 90. Like this one, they're claiming 96% pre-assembled.
So I bet you the gantry, you just lift up and 2 screws.
Yeah,
that's going to make our courses go faster.
Yeah, sometimes 8 screws was too hard. It's always so defeating when you think that's how much you did, right? I put 8 screws in. That's the whole process.
Oh, well.
So they share the same stuff, but here's a picture of the nozzle system.
Yeah, but if you go down on the Pro, there's a spot where it shows the water cooling.
I think the left one's the Pro one. I think. Yeah, the left one's the Pro one. Just so we're all aware, the left one's the Pro one. Human-centered design, guys. They built this for humans. That's good, because you're right. There's the LED bar.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and scroll down a little more.
What is it? That's CR Touch.
Water cooling was
filament runout sensor on both, like you said.
And look, gantry, 4 screws on the bottom.
Yeah. So that's the assembly. That's pretty sweet, actually. So that's the one thing, like, they've always kept that out of the Ender lines. So the 4 screws in the bottom have always been in the CR series, but not in the Ender series. And it looks like both of them are the same here, eh?
Yep.
We got similar, and they're both 32-bit boards. Apparently there's a laser module. Apparently.
Oh, I'm sure it's available. Oh, there we go, down. And now is that? See, there's the liquid cooling thing.
I think I would think that's.
You think that's an add-on?
Well, like when you look at the original, this one, the picture of the Pro, it doesn't have that water cooling.
Oh.
Do.
Click the buy now.
Oh, I will. Hold on. Buy now. Quick, somebody put your credit card with the CV code in the chat. Didn't work. Nobody did it. I was hoping. Man, there's been some comments. So, how much money is it worth spending on a hobby type printer? I mean, I can get a FunMat HT around 10,000 US. Yeah, so that's an interesting question, Stig. And I think the answer is it depends what you're doing. Like the FunMat are the heated chamber that you could print peak and such things in it. So if you're going to use engineering grade materials, I think the answer is you need to buy an engineering grade printer.
I think if you're doing hobby, buy hobby stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's, yes, you want to get the best quality you can get.
Yep.
And I would say that the majority of printers right now print really good quality.
Mhm.
Like I haven't had, the last few printers that I've gotten, they're all pretty solid right out of the box.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
you don't have to model them too much. I mean, Creality still is lacking the pause feature and a few other things in some of their printers, but with the filament runout sensor,
Yeah. Thanks, Stig, for the credit card number.
printer, they may have turned that feature on properly, because I mean, you need it to pause.
Well, on the runout any printer that has a runout sensor should have
The
automatic pause and park and stuff. And both of these have it. So like the new Ender 3 series has it. Would I run out and change my printer to one of these? I don't know. That's probably not, because I've already done direct drive them all.
First printer, and I have never had a printer before. Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh no.
And the Ender 3 V2, which was the last
new
version,
version.
was very solid. And the price, it was pretty reasonable. So I just don't know if going to this new version will save anyone money.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It is kind of nice that by going to the direct drive, hopefully they got rid of some of the extruder breaking issues, because it's had the plastic extruders that only lasted a few months.
Well, they have those direct drive modules, right? So
but are they plastic?
that's the question. I don't know. And when you look at it says full metal dual gear direct extruder with extrusion force 80 nanonewtons. Ensures smooth feeding. So they say like it's all metal, but does that mean like the arm or just the gears? Know,
the arm from the picture that they're highlighting the gears, it's really difficult to say that yes, it's metal. It's hard. It's really difficult.
And I think the Creality is very good with putting renders of their new printers on their sites.
And I love Ben's comment that the scale of the person touching it is a little out.
Yeah.
Like either the person is super tiny and an alien, or something, because there's no, like, we know how big the touchscreen is. You can see it on the side of the printer. Yeah. There's no way that hand scales right.
No. I was perusing yesterday, I think, and it was an Anycubic printer that happened to show up, but like there was a literal soccer ball. They're like, look what we printed, and it was a legit regular soccer ball. I'm like, you guys are just phoning it in now. You're not even trying anymore. At least rip off a picture of a 3D print and put it on there.
But I do like the fact that they're including a spring steel sheet on the Pro. I'm not sure about the other one.
It's on the other one too. Easy to remove models with the spring steel sheet. Yeah, and it looks like it's a poly PC coated top part stuck to the spring steel sheet with a magnetic sticker still on the bed. So like, okay, let's take a step back here. Woo. the number one problem that we've seen with the hundreds of Ender 3 printers that we've gone through, and that includes like the original Ender 3 and the V2 at this point, but
Yep.
like the biggest issue with all of them is the beds are not flat.
Did you notice that it's dual Z?
Yeah, I said that a long time ago.
Oh,
But
yeah.
like the spring steel sheet's a really good add-on, don't get me wrong. We use them almost on all of our printers personally, but like if your bed is not quite 100% level and tram, so like your aluminum has a bit of a warp, which it's not a very big aluminum plate for the heating surface. It can happen.
Never happened.
Never. But the flex steel can actually introduce a problem that the glass fixed. So everybody loves these spring steel sheets, but if your bed is warped in any fashion, the glass can help you slightly overcome that. And we've seen it, especially once you get into the bigger printers. We've had to, and when I say bigger, I mean like we had the CR Max, and then recently like some Enter 5 printers that like the stock glass was also
Kind of warped.
misshapen, so we had to just go get some more borosilicate and do it. And Ben says I use 5mm thick borosilicate on mine, and again, if your printers have any kind of wobble in the plate, you might have to stick with the glass. But I bet you, Ben, you're happy with all those prints too. Like, glass delivers great print quality, and I think the only advantage to it might be that sometimes the prints pop off easier on the flex steel. Sometimes. With the mods and upgrades I've done to my printers, they are just working. I don't need to level the bed, just heat the bed and nozzle and hit print. Stig, you're the kind of person everybody like gets mad at in the print forums, but I love it when you post that stuff. So make sure you go in there and tell people. I do the same thing. Guys, I don't know what your problem is. My printers work fine.
Well, once you get rid of the crappy springs off that they ship with, that's a huge improvement just on its own.
Yeah. Like if you go to the squishy silicone, or you go to the stiffer yellows spring.
Yeah.
I mean, we say yellow, but you can actually get those springs in a bunch of different colors.
Basically, the springs themselves are made out of they're not just a wire. They're a coiled flat steel, so that they are much more rigid. So
I don't even know how. I don't know the strength force of the spring. That's something we should probably find out and look at, so then we can be like, yeah, get this one, right? Like, but let's see, I'm just gonna read some comments. Catch up. Yes, I use yellow springs. So like, ta-da, that one.
And you see how they're very flat on the
coil.
top, and then they're very stiff. Like,
see, I agree. I like 92% agree with Raymond's stance. He popped in the chat there and just said solid mounts. And I mean, if you have ABL, solid mounts are the way to go. Like, they really are.
If you've got your frame, like if you've got a permanent location for your printer, you've got your frame nice and square, and you put your solid mounts on it, and everything's nice and true.
Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna stay solid. But not everyone is as diligent in their assembly as some people.
Some folk. So Dominic has an interesting comment. He says, I think a lot of people need to spend some time to learn how to set their Z offset, and
He's right there.
nailed it.
You need everything square and solid to start with, because if you have a really good foundation, then a quick tweak of your your Z offset once you've got everything dialed in, and you're good to go. And then you have to maybe modify it a little bit depending on your print surface, right? Because if you have a textured build plate versus a smooth build plate, depending on the type of, some people like the look of a textured on the bottom of their print, some people want it smooth. So that changes sometimes your height, and then you might have to adjust your offset, but you can set up profiles for that to say, oh, well, I'm using this build plate, and then it just automatically adjusts.
Yeah.
I believe it's in Marlin now.
It is in Marlin. One of the advantages, I guess, of ABL, so a probe of some type, is as long as you're especially if you're using the BL Touch or similar probes, you can throw whatever you want on, and you're always guaranteed that it'll probe correctly. But I have found that with some PEI, since it's bumpy, you'd have to redo your probe offset now and again.
Yeah.
But I mean, the feeling thing is a tricky thing when you're not talking ABL, right? Like, I use a business card and I get it really good every time.
And I lean more towards a standard sheet of paper, because I'm used to getting the feeling of that, right?
And then there's the feeler gauges too, right? Like the metal ones.
Yeah, the 2 micron or whatever.
Some people swear by them. I've seen the pressure meter or gauges. There's lots of different ways to level it. Baby stepping is your friend. It most certainly is.
Whatever is your favorite way of doing it is the right way.
I hope when you're doing the Post-it note, you're using the gluey, sticky side. Yep, it's the best.
What? The drag is great,
The
and it's
drag
not
is
even
just perfect.
in the printer.
Yeah, and see, I've heard Post-it notes too.
Well, that's the same as a standard paper, because they're the same thickness.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, like, if you've gotten accustomed to your Post-it note, your business card, your piece of paper, the birthday card from your Aunt Ethel, whatever it was, and it's working.
I think it's consistency, right?
Yeah, because you look like a printer whisperer when you do it, but everybody has that comfort zone, and they'll think of their go-to. Stig has a interesting, it's kind of funny comment. He's like, I use different clutch springs for my RC cars, but they're all painted red. So if you go, I need the red spring. Sure, here you go.
Yeah. I know these come in blue and yellow. I've just, on Amazon, I just buy the yellow ones.
Yeah.
Oops. And I have like a little drawer full, and so every once in a while I'll get someone whose printer just won't level up right, and I'll be like, hey.
A $1 bill works good too.
Yep.
It does for sure. I mean, the Canadian ones would be funny.
I prefer $1,000 bill, but
we can't spend $1 to level our printer up here anyway. We have to spend $5. It's the $5 level. $5
is the lowest bill we have.
So Stig had the point where he's using different glue stick for adhesion assistance, and that's one thing that people get a lot of flack on too. Oh, well, you don't need glue stick or hairspray. Just wipe the bed off; it'll stick. Well, sometimes that's not the answer. You need a little.
It depends on what your bed is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's different. Like, I know some people that still, they're stuck on their, no pun intended,
loony level
painter's tape, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, that goes back to non-heated beds, but sure.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, there was a period, and it was right around the first CR10, where you get these nice printers, heated beds, and then they send a roll of masking tape and be like, here, use this. And then you pull your print off, and it's just chunky masking tape on the bottom. No.
I mean, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
Like it depends on, there's so much information out there, but a lot of it's old now, right?
Yeah. It's
And
getting dated.
So, but if you're new to 3D printing, you don't know that. You don't know that some of the information is, why, they're recommending painter's tape. Well, yeah, they had no heated bed or really crappy heated beds.
Mm-hmm.
And,
It's one of those things where it's the times are changing, but some of the manufacturers have not changed their instruction manual for like 30 years.
I like Dominic.
Right?
Only Chinese currencies work on reality.
Ray says he uses glue stick on all my beds, glass, PEI, carbon, and flex. So like if I have one printer that doesn't have PEI coated or PC coated stuff, and that's the printer that I still use Aquanet on.
Yep.
I do have glue stick though, because as all of you or some of you or many of you should know, and Stig comment makes a lot of sense when I say this. If you are printing with PETG, you need to have an intermediary between your print bed and your PETG. So that's why glue stick is your best friend for PETG, because if you don't have that intermediary, it can strip. Well, one, it could take your PEI coating when you pop the print, but it can also take chunks of glass because it will bond to the glass, and then you're buying a new print bed.
Yeah, so it all depends on what you're doing with it. If you're just printing PLA,
Mm-hmm.
have a fairly modern printer with PAI sheet, whatnot. Yeah, it'll probably stick fine without any Aquanet or any other type of medium to do. But I mean, there are times where
weird things happen. Well, like
you've got a super long print and you don't want any warping.
when I have the
little extra help.
we did when we did your ABS Voron parts, I had to like literally soak the bed in ISO, between prints, to get it to stick the next time, which was kind of weird, but I just went with it and it worked every time. So
some people do the acetone ABS slurries.
Yeah, you could do that. If you do that on a PEI sheet, you might risk taking the PEI with the slurry.
Oh, absolutely. If you're specializing in ABS printing or whatnot, you probably have a print bed that you're going to do that on a regular basis, kind of thing.
Yep. And then like what was the other stuff? Gloop. That was pretty popular for a while. 3D Gloop. It was you could use it to bond prints together, but people were also using it as a bed adhesion. So it worked.
It may not come off your bed, but okay.
It probably would eventually. That's why you need removable build plates that can go to the freezer. Everybody, if you're buying a printer with a build plate that doesn't come off nowadays, I don't even know if you could. I can't think of one that doesn't come off. Nope. My mind is a blank there, but that's not hard to do. So we have one last topic du jour, but before we talk about topic du jour,
thanks people.
Yeah, we'll thank some people. Hold on. I can do this. I got it almost all set up now. Thank you to these people for being awesome. Haven't seen Halsh in a few days, but I'm sure he'll be back. And then thanks to all the Patreons. It's been really nice. Your support means a lot. Again, you can check it out. Patreon.com/3dmakeit. All of our other stuff is at 3dmakeit.ca.
Yeah. And if you're on Patreon, just so anyone who's not on Patreon knows, we have a really nice Discord community that everyone participates in and whatnot when they are Patreon members. So
we're usually terrible with asking, but Ray's really good at remembering. But like, share, subscribe. We definitely appreciate you guys helping out by sharing some of the videos. So thank you. Now, the last topic, and it's going to be a quick one. I know it's going to be quick, which is fine. So if you have a working printer, Greg, a working printer, but you have the need to tinker with it, what are you going to tinker with?
My CNC.
Printer. Great. Printer. Printer.
Maybe your slicer settings?
Okay. I like that answer. That's where I would go too. So, if you have a printer that works, unless you have a really good reason to change it. So, like if your printer works and you're like, maybe I want to put an ABL sensor on so I can print remotely more reliably. Okay.
Or a Pi?
Yeah, right? Like, okay. That's a good mod. Pi. 3D sensor. But if your printer's working really good.
You're not messing with your printer then.
Right? Or my least favorite thing I've heard is my printer was working fine, but then I updated the firmware because I wanted to print hotter, and now it can't now it can't home anymore, or now it makes this weird whining sound when my driver's engaged, and you're like, oh no. And by the way, printing hotter is a valid, most valid reason for upgrading stuff on your printer too.
Yeah, and if you were one of the ones that got like the original Ender 3 or even the original CR10 or something, upgrading your firmware just so you have the thermal runaway features, maybe advanced pause. That's another really good reason to upgrade your firmware. Now, most I would say of the new printers, that stuff's turned on. Like I don't know any manufacturer. I mean, I'm sure there are some that like the Corellities and the Anycubic that are shipping with it off. If they do, shame on them.
Bad. Stig says, well, I did mine to a plotter. And yeah, the conversion is great. Like if you have a reason like plotter, laser engraver, or you even wanted to try to mod it to be a very, very lightweight CNC, like it would have to be super light duty because that frame isn't rigid enough to do CNC milling. But like if that kind of stuff for sure. But like the average person, if your printer's working and you're sitting there, just gonna change out all the stepper motors and I'll rewire it, and you're gonna introduce more problems than you're gonna fix at that point. So
I mean, it's one thing to have a working printer. It's another thing to build an entire printer. I mean, but don't get me wrong, it's enjoyable and fun to do those things.
Oh, definitely.
But I think you have to work your way up to it.
Yep.
And not jump, because you don't want to jump off the deep end before you've actually learned how to swim.
Greg, or not Greg, Raymond. Wow, you're Greg. Raymond's in the chat. He makes a good point where a bunch of people put upgrades on their printers, and then it just doesn't work, right? Like, one such thing, lots of people try is like, I need a new cooling system. So I'm gonna print this cooling duct from XYZ person and throw it on there, and then my prints are terrible and I wonder why and I can't figure it out. And it's like, well, you changed the stock cooling on
and you printed it out of PLA.
Yeah, so not only did you do it, but it's melting as you're going. One thing to remember is money can't buy skill and experience, and Stig is absolutely right. The more time you spend into a hobby, or a vocation, right? The more professional. Was it 10,000 hours or something like that?
I was just going to say, it's something like they say that if you spend 10,000 hours on something, then you should be a professional by that time.
Yeah.
Now, if it takes you 100 years and to do it, and you're doing only 10 minutes at a time, maybe not.
Well, I mean, I guess you put in 10,000 hours, but yeah, no, it's absolutely true, right? Like,
you definitely got to put some effort in, and you need to fail. because honestly, learning from mistakes is a really good way to understand what's going on, right? Because I mean, if everything just works all the time, you don't really understand the process. So it's okay.
Like Grace, what do you mean? I get paid to learn my skill. Yep, me too. It's great. Dominic, you are correct. So if you're tinkering with the firmware on your printer and you're gonna like upload the new file, you can take the old bin and rename, or sorry, the cur and rename it, or save it somewhere else so that the controller doesn't erase it, and then you can fail back. Now that's a little bit harder on the Ender V2s.
Yeah, I was going to say, unless you have an old printer that has an Arduino in it and whatnot, make sure you have stuff backed up ahead of time. Because it's not quite simple.
Yeah, there used to be a time where it was like, oh, I bricked my printer. Now it's not as bad, but you could still do it.
It's and just upgrading your firmware now has gotten so straightforward. You just drop the file on the SD card.
Yeah.
Even with the new Crealities, right? You compile it and drop it on there, and away you go.
There's one more step you missed. Compile it, and then you have to rename the file.
Yeah, it has the Creality. It has to be a different name every time.
Yeah, you can't use firmware.bin. So, like every other printer on the planet will just overwrite the current firmware.bin, but the boards on the Creality machines do not.
Firmware 1.bin, firmware 2.bin, 3.bin.
Well, if you forget how many.
365.bin.
Uh-oh. You've changed it once a day? That's hardcore. But, yeah, we're coming up to the top of the hour, and we might progress on with our day here. But before we do such things, thank you guys for coming.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. It's been a blast. It's been a good birthday chat here with everyone. I'm going to go after this, and we're going to have a birthday lunch.
Ooh, that sounds delightful.
Yeah, well, at least that's the plan. We'll see.
I like it. And we'll be a little more set up, too. We weren't bad, but there's a few things missing that we usually use during the streams that are not available by button click right now. But
and everyone's missing out because Stig has posted some great videos in our Discord, and if you were a Patreon member, you'd have access to all the Creality printers that we were talking about. So, yeah.
Hang on a sec before you go. Okay, hanging on, Stig.
I'm hanging.
We're hanging on a moment. Oh, thanks, Tom. We sure love doing them, and I, for one, I'm glad that we're back. It means healthy's coming, so
yeah,
it's really good to be around again.
It's nice that David can actually be heard.
It was annoying.
when he was yelling and no one could hear him, he was throwing stuff.
Yeah, I need your attention. Whack.
And my desk is across the room from his, so things would fly across.
It's valid. But again, before we hop off, we do have all of our stuff social-wise at the 3dmakeit.ca. So it's the best way to find all of the information at once, and then we don't have to say like 7 different things.
Yeah.
And our account's blocked now on a couple sites because reasons. It's fine. Thanks, Ben. Yeah, me too. It was a heck of a time. But we've hung on for a second. Oh, thank you, Steak, for the birthday money.
Steak, thank you so much. That's super generous.
Happy birthday, Greg.
Well, it won't be coffee money, but I will definitely throw it into the Dr. Pepper fund.
That's true. He's not a coffee guy. No, that's a great. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's so generous.
But we'll let you all go for now, and we'll catch up with you next.
And
week.
David will post if he's doing maybe just some sort of other alternative stream, or if he's going to do something else, because I again will not be here next Sunday.
Oh,
So
yeah, we're going to do something. We might do a deep dive into the Marlin. Yay.
Yeah.
But thank you all for
Thank
coming.
you so much, Dominic. All right.
Until
see you
next
guys.
time, we'll see you around. Bye.